live and work in rural, off-grid areas of the world. We've got great speakers here from 3 different continents. I'm just going to reintroduce everybody here real quick, just because we kind of mixed up our order coming out, and just let you guys know a little bit about the people who we've got here on our panel today, and I'm really pleased to have them all here. I'm just going to start with a quick introduction of Mr. Martin Kariongi here. Martin Kariongi, he is from Tanzania. He is from a rural village in northern Tanzania, and we're really pleased to have him here today. He's faced, let's say, some unique New York challenges in making it here, so we're really pleased to have him sitting here with us today, and that is also the reason for our little delay here, so apologies for that, but we're real happy to be here with you. Yay, all right, yeah, thank you so much. Excellent. He's a rock star, he's a rock star. And so let me also introduce here Gregory Etienne. Gregory Etienne is coming here from Haiti. He's the mayor of the village of Pilate in the north of Haiti. And it's actually not that far from the capital, but as you know, roads and infrastructure are off-grid energy in remote forests, and the challenge to make a difference as a mayor. And we really want to emphasize today, I know we've had a lot of different panels, but here on day 3, I mean, we're talking about why wait, seizing the energy dividends. Why wait? So these are the folks who are working at the local government level, who need to also be working with all of the policymakers, all of the other people that we've heard speak the last 2 days. But this is the essential local level that really reaches the people directly. So we want to make sure that that is emphasized here today. So here to my left, I'd like to introduce as well Tree Mukpun, kind of her informal name, yeah? And so Puni is here with us. She's done a lot of amazing work, especially in training and capacity building of villagers living in rural off-grid areas. So that question of actually giving people the engineering skills, right? It's not just about being a technician. People from villages can become engineers. They can get the education just like anyone in any developed country. And we want to really show that that's possible, and that those people who have ties to their original home villages, they're the ones who can make the real difference as well. But we've got to have the complete picture of linking up the international, the national, the regional, and the local levels. So thank you so much for being here. She's co-founder of IBECA, which is a pretty amazing organization doing a lot of work in micro-hydro and solar and all kinds of good stuff, but I'll leave that for her to talk about. Marc-Antoine Archaud, here again from Haiti. So what I kind of wanted to do here was kind of pair up people. And so we met Gregory Etienne in Haiti in January at a conference that Marc-Antoine had organized with Smart Villages. It's been a really wonderful partnership to meet them and to welcome them here today. Marc-Antoine is a founder, along with his wife Anna Bello, here in the front. If you just wave, Anna. Wonderful lady here, working especially on resilience issues as a psychologist in Haiti, originally from Spain. So honorary panel member as well. and they both together, they make up the Energy Observatory of Haiti. So we're really pleased to have them with us here today. And last but not least, we have Jessica Olivares from Peru. So again, she was paired with Alfonso, and that's how I came to know Alfonso, is via Jessica. And she works for Acción Microenergía Peru. And we're really pleased to have her here today because, again, they're an organization, they're working at the policy level, but they're also working on the ground, and they're working with local government to ensure that people are getting the energy access that they so desperately need. So with that being said, I'd like to kind of just launch into things a little bit, and I'll have a seat here and just get the session going a little bit. So those are our introductions, and thanks for being with us. So what we're talking about here today is really adding that local level, and really adding this point that people are doing it themselves, right? I mean, we see there are things going on, essential things at the policy level, internationally, and that's why it's so important to come together for the Sustainable Energy for All Forum here in New York. It's so essential to bring together everybody from every level that's working on this, and all in one space for 3 days. Actually, 3 days is not enough to get into all of the issues. And so what our panel really wants to do is to, again, I want to emphasize that the question is, why wait? Why wait? It's urgent. We all hear 2030 goals, right? 2030 is not that far away, is it? Especially not for me, right? To me, it's not long. 13 years, it's not long. So we've got a lot of work to do in a very, very short period of time. And these folks are the ones pushing things forward on the ground, on the front lines. And what I really want to do personally is just step back, let them tell their stories, and I'm just going to introduce them in terms of picture, and this is to an outcome. Energy access as it relates to education. I can see these issues together and look at the interpreters can interpret this. I am myself an agri-place, and it's a place where they can really add a lot of value, and we want to talk about how that can really be done. So let me just get straight to the panel. So Martin Kariongi, I will start with you here, if that's okay, since you've been the one facing the most unique challenges perhaps, and I want to give you the first moment to talk here. So Martin, can you tell me, okay, why wait? How do we get these energy access dividends? What do we have to do in order to make sure that, as in your community, how do we make all the other communities look like Terra in Tanzania? And please tell us a little bit about Terra, yourself, and what you think everybody needs to be doing from your opinion.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I hope everybody can hear me. My name is Martin Kariongi Olasanago. I'm a Maasai. I was born in Maasai Plains of northern Tanzania. And maybe particularly to answer Molly questions, I just give you my little history, because really 2030 is not that far, and really manage up to the university level. But then I had in mind about my people. Then what do I do? Do I go for the white-collar jobs in cities and be like any other elite or any other professor? Or what do I do with my families and relatives there? So then I went through my education levels to the university, and then I was lucky really to go to UK to do my studies there at the University College London. But still I have my thinking about my village. And I was asking myself, I mean, how did these cities really came into being? Did they start as villages, or they just mushroomed out of nowhere to become smart cities? So I was asking myself, why can't villages become smart villages? And maybe helps keep people there where they are safe, where they have their own relatives and family members and everybody around them. So after my university studies in UK in 1990, it's not that far. But then I remember that I decided to leave my job with the Lutheran Church in northern Tanzania, and I went to my village. My local elite were so surprised that I came from London and all the way to the village of Terra. It was a small, dark African village. There was nothing more to learn about or do in that village. But I told myself, I'll work as hard as I can to make this a reality. If the idea of smart cities has worked, then the idea of smart villages also works. And that's my study. So I went there, but the issue is, the Maasai people are traditional people. They are not that educated. They think in terms of their livestock keeping and traditional life there. But the world is changing so fast and actually left them behind. So I had a question of, how do I change my community mindset and tell them that, in order to coexist with the rest of the world and the rest of the Tanzania, we have to move. We have to move out of our tradition, out of our box, our comfort boxes, and really use the resources we have to get out of poverty. So I went back there, and then how do I change the mindset of the Maasai people? The idea came into me in 1993, and to be precise, 1994, that I need a community radio station that will educate the Maasai people and help them actually conceptualize the modern world, because the Maasai people are not in an isolation. They are part of the Tanzanian society, they are part of the global village. So how do I start a radio station there? I managed to secure some funding and also the government approvals, although there was no definition of a community radio in Tanzania in those years. But then I managed somehow to put the studios in place. But then the big question was, how do you run a community radio without energy, without electricity? It requires high voltage electricity production. So the energy becomes so crucial and important that unless I have the energy access in those years, I cannot run a radio station there. So it came into my mind that having a small engine generator, then I can power the radio station and educate the Maasai people. And that's the beginning of the whole change setup there, that we established the radio station and we managed to talk with the Maasai people. But then the question is, the government of Tanzania didn't allow us to speak our local vernacular languages. We have to speak in Swahili or in English. But the Maasai people do not understand that. So how do I overcome all those challenges? At least I had energy to power the radio station. And that's the starting point. So the radio station actually helped us to talk about the education, because the Maasai, they were actually left behind out of the formal education system, let alone thinking about their economic production system. But the radio station taught us a lesson that you must have a starting point, you must have an idea, and how do you carry that idea forward? So since 1990 up to now, I have achieved much, just to say the least. But it is not that far. So when I look 2030, it's not that long. So how do we do globally that villages and voices from those villages will come into to be heard in the United Nations and other global bodies? So that's the starting point. So the radio went on air, and we started putting programs on education, on agribusiness, and many others. So the radio station became a starting point, and the energy behind it was the issue. But then how do we go about? Because the mindset of the Maasai has gained some positive attitude that we need to be part of the global village and move forward and actually drop out some of our bad tradition and cultural practices that actually put our women behind, that actually practice genital mutilation for our women and things like that. But then the question of economic gain and the poverty level was another challenge. But energy was behind everything. And we worked through that path and make a reality that Terat now at this point is a smart village because of the energy history that we worked through. Now we have managed to come to a point where we have connected over 250 households with electricity, schools, churches, mosques, and others. And it was so interesting because the local people, sometimes we think they're not that smart. But as soon as the electricity was there, they took chances, you see. They become entrepreneurs. They charged mobile phones so that the communication level, widened from the community radio to mobile phones and to agribusiness, actually dairy processing. And just to mention a few points about that, in my culture, in my tribes, the only thing that women own is milk and a cow skin. So he said, let's capitalize on the milk processing, because the milk processing will give a woman something she owns. And we had some critics who are saying, if then we start the dairy processing, there will be a conflict, because women will have money and husbands will become jealous. But to our surprise, women become more powerful and they have their family at their heart. So energy has opened Terat to the world. If you can go to and Google the Terat village, the whole setup will come in front of your computer. So energy is a driving engine. It's a driving engine to any development initiative you want to carry. So in order to give my colleagues a chance, thank you for that, and then I can later respond to any other questions.
Thank you so much, Martin. I mean, that's, I want to just pull a key word out of there, which was when he was talking about women and dairy products. By the way, I have tasted the dairy products of Terat. I visited their rooms with cheese, with yogurt, with all of this. It's incredible. You must go to Terat yourself. I believe you can do quite an interesting home visit probably in this village. But it's just to say that this is something that has really changed lives and incomes, and particularly for the women, because that's really one of the central driving forces behind the economy of the village are the dairy products, which is really amazing. But just to emphasize in general this concept of ownership, because we talk a lot about community involvement and we need to consult the community. No, we don't need to consult the community. If I can editorialize a little bit here, we need the community to basically tell us what to do, and for it to be a dialogue, and for the villages themselves to be partners in the process. And I think that's something as well that SEforALL sees as an essential thing. It's what Smart Villages see as an essential thing, and everyone up here. So it's really partnerships, true partnerships. So with that, I want to move real quick over to Trina Pudi, and I want to hear, we're going to jump from Tanzania all the way over to Indonesia, and I want to hear about what you've been doing. Tell us a little bit about Ibeka, about the kind of work that you've done with Ibeka, that you've founded, and again with your husband as well, Iskander, who couldn't join us here today, but like Anna, honorary panel member here as well. So let's learn about Indonesia now.
Thank you, Molly. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Puni from Indonesia, and since early 90s, actually what Ibeka doing is electrifying remote area of Indonesia using renewable energy. In the first place, we only focusing on micro-hydro because we are such a rich country with so many mountainous area, and also we have so many streams that we can divert it to be an energy. But for the last 5 years, we also thinking of wind turbine, very small scale, to address the issue and fulfill the needs of energy in those areas that there is no water at all, like eastern part of Indonesia. What we're trying to do is we introducing what's so-called community-based electrical power supply. Why? Because we have a strong belief that local community has to be honored. We should put trust on the local community capability. The way we do it is that we have a social preparation. We have to make sure that local community aware and have the passion to build what actually they need. We are utilizing the local resources available in any kind of villages. Then we start talking with them. We form a cooperative or local institution to make sure that all what we build is not for us, it's for themselves. This is a very important aspect due to the sustainability. What really concerning for many years is that many top-down projects that is unsustainable. This is because there is not enough involvement of the local people. This has become a big problem and a big issue. We just don't want to repeat that most of the time. And actually, we have a two approach. The first approach is where we utilizing local resources for local community benefit by developing any facilities from renewable energy, owned, operate, and maintained by local people. Then there is a time, then we finish with all this development, we can just leave it to the local community. So what our approach is, we have a strong belief that the best technology, if we can bring as close as possible to the community capability. That's why training to local people play a very important role. Most of our operator, actually when I say our operator is the power plant that we build, it's actually local people who only graduate, not even graduate. It's the dropout elementary school in the 3rd class. But why they have the capability like an engineer? Because the way we do it, with the heart, we have a trust. We have the capability that local community through, training and proper preparation, proper approach, they will have the capability. And after they have electricity, we have a strong belief that electricity is the backbone of economic development. So that's why electricity or energy is only tools or means. Because the goal that we want to achieve is that economic development. Once they have electricity, the women can form a cooperative, starting to make patchouli oil, lemongrass oil. They can do many activities related to agriculture harvest. This is what is a very important aspect. And the other scheme is what we call connect to the grid. Since early 90s, basically precisely in 1994, when we have a small power plant, isolated, then suddenly the electricity, from the national company came in. We don't want to close this power plant. So we are really campaigning that the national utility should buy this electricity. So if we can do that, finally after, waiting for 6 years, the government launched a program that capable enough for the local community to sell the electricity to the grid. By selling those electricity to the grid, the community has an income, and this income can be used based on, the bidding in the village. And they agree that usually the money used for development purposes in the village. The money is really something, that really help the local economy in the village running really well. They use to send the kids, giving a scholarship for the poor families that they still can sell, as electricity and then send the kids to the school. And also they can have a program, healthcare for free, because the village has the money by selling this electricity to the grid. And on the other hand, it's a very good also for our national utilities, because in a very long distribution line, usually the voltages drop. So if we induce with a hydro and a very far away, then the voltage can be improved. This is what we call it win-win situation. But lastly, what I really understand, when I had a chance to help the Ministry of Energy for the last 2 years, I made a program called Patriot Energy. This is the program that's sending or deploy young engineers to work with local people for at least 1 year to make sure that local people got access through this young engineer, access to finance, access to technology, so they can have their own energy by utilizing the local resources. Can be hydro if there is a stream running through that villages, can be solar panel if there is a panel, can be also wind turbine. Whatever that energy sources available, that should be developed locally, because we have a strong belief sustainability can be achieved. It is only if the resources available locally utilized by the local resources with certain or enough capability. And this capability can be done because we have a young engineer to accompany and to train the local people in some certain period of time. Thank you. That's the way I can share.
Fantastic. Keeping perfectly to time as well. I just want to double check with everybody. Does everyone have this? If you don't speak Spanish or French, I would recommend that you have this. Normally they were supposed to be handed out before this. Does everyone have this? No, everyone does not have this. Can someone please help me with this issue, because we will need everyone in the audience who does not speak both Spanish and French to use this for the next portion of this session. Thank you so much. So while we're waiting on that, maybe let's have a little chat. Martin and Kariongi, you guys know each other. We've made some nice connections through Smart Villages over the years. So for you guys, I mean, having had these experiences, having worked at the village level, training people, both training people and also creating productive enterprises. I mean, how do other people replicate what you've done? Replicating, scalability, these are always the key words, but I feel like we're still struggling with that. So how do people do what you guys have done? Maybe I start with Martin there. How'd you do it? And just in 1 minute, tell us how to do it.
Yeah, thank you, Molly. Actually, I've been talking a lot about Terat village, but actually I work with 16 villages. So what has happened in Terat has been replicated to other Maasai villages. It is a question of will, political will to actually have an idea, make an idea a reality, and then carry it forward. And you have to be there to sustain it, to make it a reality. And then the local people in the villages are so intelligent. Often the elite, the educated, and the professionals ignore local people. But frankly, to tell you the truth, the local people there, villages, are so intelligent. And if you train them to maintain the energy systems, to engage on social enterprises relating to the energy, they will do. And that's my experience. The energy in Terat has impacted positively on education, positively on health, that now the health center and dispensaries has people, the local people do not have to travel to cities, big cities, to acquire medical examination and other small operations that can be performed at the village level. So the energy accessibility create so incredible heaven right there in the villages. And the idea of smart villages is a living reality. It's not an utopia or an academic thing. It's the reality, and it is happening. And it helps to balance people movements from villages to cities, to look into this reality. I mean, the modernity life, it can happen. It is happening in villages, and that's very, very important because it keeps the young people right there in the villages. We have the internet cafes right in the villages. We have the TVs and other things that actually draw people from villages to cities. So that's just to add into that.
Absolutely, thank you, and we'll come back to that in the questions. Right now we're going to move into the French and Spanish portion of our work here. I'm just going to switch over. Voy a comenzar con lo siento, porque tiene su nombre. Okay, Alfonso Guevara Chota, lo siento. Quisiera te preguntar un poco sobre su ciudad en Perú y como alcalde, ¿qué son los desafíos, por ejemplo, en esta zona por la energía y también por las personas que viven, especialmente en las, lo siento, olvido las comunidades, sí. puede explicar un poco sobre su trabajo.
Buenas tardes a todos. Vengo de Perú, de la Amazonía, Loreto. Es fácil llegar, de aquí llegamos a Lima, de Lima vamos 2 horas en avión y luego 7 horas en deslizador por el río. Un motor fuera de borda 250H. De tal manera que yo, como profesional, porque soy odontólogo, y haciendo mi servicio rural me fui a un pueblo llamado Santa Clotilde, que es la capital del distrito del Napo, que tiene aproximadamente 18.000 habitantes, porque todavía no hacemos el censo de este año. Dividido en 96 comunidades o aldeas, como ustedes lo llaman. Obviamente no vengo como un experto en lo que es energía sostenible, sino más para dar la experiencia que tenemos en un distrito de la Amazonía donde hay bastante árboles, que da mucho oxígeno a nuestro ambiente, sin embargo no tenemos ni el 20% de todas las comunidades con energía. Y donde hay, solamente tenemos, como autores dicen, 3 horas, y en la capital distrital 5 horas al día. No tenemos acceso al internet, y menos voy a hablar, como estaba escuchando dentro de este foro, de ver que los vehículos eléctricos, todavía nosotros no sabemos nada de lo que significa eso, pero sí con una esperanza de que algún día podamos, a lo que están aspirando 1.000 millones de habitantes, de tener acceso a la energía. Por eso vengo a este foro para decirles que ya estamos pensando en 2050, no llegamos al 2030 y no hemos cumplido la meta de que exista acceso universal a nuestros habitantes en la energía. La experiencia, yo llegué hace 25 años y me da la oportunidad ahora de ser alcalde, y comenzamos a pensar en cómo hacer para dar energía teniendo tantos recursos naturales dentro de nuestra comunidad o dentro de nuestras comunidades. Las alianzas estratégicas se van dando de acuerdo a que las instituciones quieran colaborar. Estoy seguro que el Estado tiene mucho que ver, pero hay instituciones que quieren colaborar con lo que significa el factor humano, el factor social, y no solamente el factor económico que mucho he escuchado yo acá, de lo que significa la inversión, de lo que significa todo lo que es dar negocios dentro de lo que significa un bien común, como es la energía. Entonces, hemos tenido y tenemos ahora de las 86, ahora estamos trabajando como Acción a Microenergía Perú, con quien, haciendo un convenio con la municipalidad, hemos determinado que comencemos a trabajar con lo que significa lo que tenemos ahí, que es la luz solar, y poner energías individuales en cada casa. Estamos empezando, tenemos recién puestos 61 paneles solares, o sea, 61 viviendas, y la población sí quiere colaborar. La parte educativa, la parte de vender la idea a ese pueblo ha sido bien recibido, y por tanto quieren colaborar para que sea sostenible en el tiempo, para que sea autosostenible dentro de lo que significa esta energía. Vuelvo a repetir, existe este organismo con quien estamos trabajando y tenemos retos. Yo cumpliré el próximo año ya mi mandato, seguro que con la experiencia que tenemos, la población se va a empoderar y va a decir: queremos seguir teniendo más acceso a esta energía, por lo menos a eso. Entonces, cuando vemos a un niño teniendo, después de 50 años de estar viviendo por ahí, o sus padres han ido a vivir, tener por primera vez una luz que los alumbra en su casa, seguro que esa sonrisa yo lo llevo dentro de mi mente. vine a Miami, pasé por ahí, me fui a la máquina para tratar de poner mis dedos y luego me salió que con asma, no salía con la sonrisa feliz. Pero estoy seguro que de este evento voy a ir pensando en esos niños que tienen una sonrisa feliz por tener luz en su casa. Si quiero un foco, y seguro con el tiempo, más sonrisas felices. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Sí. Es necesario que trabajen juntos, ¿sí? Con las comunidades y también con las personas políticas también. Muchas gracias, Alfonso. Ok. Maintenant, on va attendre la parole de Gregory Etienne, ici. Il vient de Haïti et il va parler un petit peu plus sur Pilate. Il va expliquer la situation là-bas pour l'énergie et je vais vous laisser vous introduire.
Merci Mordi. Et je suis content d'être ici, de participer à ce grand forum assez intéressant. Depuis lundi, j'ai appris beaucoup et toutes ces informations me seront utiles pour bien servir ma communauté. Avant tout, je suis Grégory Etienne, né à Pilate au nord d'Haïti le 11 mai 1972, d'une famille modeste, très riche en valeurs fondamentales qui ont guidé toute mon éducation. J'ai étudié à la faculté de droit et des sciences économiques d'Orkonerei et sorti avec un certificat. Et j'ai décoché des certificats en formation pédagogique et communautaire. J'ai administré l'école évangélique d'Haïti des Pilates, aujourd'hui mixte évangélique Lavoisier. Et j'ai donné toutes mes compétences au tribunal de paix de la commune à titre de greffier. J'ai travaillé avec plus de 60 organisations communautaires de base dans le domaine infrastructurel afin d'améliorer leurs capacités. À l'aide du Centre d'études et de coopération internationale, ceci, et de Banque interaméricaine de développement BID, de l'Agence américaine de développement international USAID, j'ai coordonné le conseil d'appui au développement communautaire, un projet touchant les 8 sections communales et le centre-ville de ma commune, à travers duquel le nom de Grégory Etienne a éclaté et a eu un effet impressionnant sur le grand public qui ne fait pas marchander ou crier « Vive Grégory Etienne, maire de la commune des Pilates ». Quand le peuple parle, c'est la voix de Dieu qui parle. Aujourd'hui, je suis élu maire de Pilate. Je dois en toute première loge remercier le grand architecte de l'univers qui a inspiré le peuple à faire choix de moi comme dirigeant. Mais en bref, je vais essayer de parler un peu de Pilate pour montrer l'importance primordiale et la nécessité d'un système d'éclairage à Pilate. Parlons de la situation géographique de la commune. Pilate relie 4 communes, ça veut dire elle se trouve au centre, c'est Plaisance, Ormagro, Gomode et Le Boy. Elle permet de la rencontre de 3 départements, le nord, le nord-ouest de la Tibonite. Et sa population est environ évaluée à 65 000 habitants qui sont repartis sur les 8 sections communales, y compris le centre-ville, et elle recouvre d'une superficie de 135 km². Ses principales productions vivrières sont l'igname, la banane, la noix de coco qui assure l'alimentation, et aussi le revenu des paysans. Mais Pilate fournit quotidiennement des vivres alimentaires à la ville du Cap Haïtien et à Port-au-Prince, notre capitale. Avec la disparition du café, le cacao reste le seul denrée d'exportation. Juste un couvert, chocolat, etc. Mais parlons de la problématique du courant électrique à Pilate. Un embryon d'énergie électrique existait déjà à Pilat dans les années de 1980, qui alimentait uniquement 7h à 10h du soir. Et sur une superficie de moins d'1 kilomètre et au moyen de petits groupes électrogènes de 32 kW seuls. Cette expérience d'alimenter les maisons et d'éclairer les rues de Pilat n'avait duré qu'environ 2 années. Actuellement, avec l'échec des gouvernements précédents d'installer des lampadaires solaires pour éclairer la sphère du centre communal, le bourg de Pilat et sa section communale sont dépourvus d'électricité. Quelles sont les conséquences? Les conséquences sont vraiment lourdes pour l'administration communale, pour la justice et la police, qui ne sont pas en mesure de maîtriser les cas de viol, de corruption, de banditisme, etc. Mais quelles sont les ressources énergétiques disponibles à Pilat? Pilat renferme beaucoup de rivières, dont la plus puissante est le fleuve des Trois-Rivières, ayant un débit annuel moyen de 2 mètres cubes par seconde, qui augmente au moment des forts de pluie. Le rayonnement solaire est formidable durant toute l'année. Maintenant, cet objectif consiste à adopter la commune de Pilat de système d'énergie hydroélectrique par un barrage sur le fleuve des Trois-Rivières pour ces 3 grandes raisons. La première raison, c'est le courant hydraulique possède la capacité de couvrir avec efficacité toutes les sections communales, compris les communes avoisinantes. De manière, Pilat peut jouer le rôle de pilote dans cette énergie que reconduit Haïti. Deuxièmement, des canaux d'irrigation vont permettre une augmentation et une diversification de la production agricole, assurant une autosuffisance alimentaire à la population pilatoise et d'importance revenus. Troisièmement, le secteur tourisme peut connaître un parfait développement dans la région, qui possède déjà un paysage verdoyant et des endroits inexplorés. Cependant, compte tenu des coûts élevés de cette réalisation, aussi bien des moyens technologiques à appliquer ce projet est un moyen. Maintenant, à court terme, c'est doter Pilat d'une installation de système d'énergie solaire à court terme. Il est impératif d'alimenter la commune de Pilat en énergie avec un système fiable de panneaux à l'aide de tous les amis, toutes les organisations et en partenariat avec les secteurs publics privés. Et puis la doit conçoivent du courant pour leur maison, leur activité, etc. Et bien, c'était en bref, je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, Grégory. Oui, et de ce que j'ai compris, en fait, je voudrais juste annoncer quelque chose de très intéressant qui est arrivé hier soir au dîner. Donc, on va avoir en fait un type de jumelage, un partenariat entre la commune de Alfonso et la commune de Grégory. Donc ça c'est très intéressant de faire des jumelages en fait entre les villages et pas seulement les villes, non? Et peut-être avec les villes aussi, pourquoi pas? On verra. Ok, merci beaucoup. Ok, et Jessica Ovidio-Pares, vamos a entender un poco sobre su trabajo. Entiendo que trabaja con Alfonso en Perú, pero puede darnos una idea de la situación en Perú en general. Tiene más que 2 minutos, porque no hay las personas que vienen, porque, bueno, vale.
Bueno, gracias, Molly. Sí, bueno, en 2 minutos habría mucho que contar, trataré de correr, tal vez me tome 3. No, yo pues quería comenzar contándoles que yo represento a una microempresa social que se llama Acciona Microenergía Perú, que es un proyecto, iniciativa de la Fundación Acciona, que a su vez es la fundación que ve los temas de responsabilidad social de la empresa Acciona en España. Entre las líneas de acción, los temas principales de acción están lo que son energías renovables, y es por eso que decidieron en el año 2009 comenzar con intervenciones en acceso de energía inicialmente en Perú, específicamente en la región Cajamarca, por ser la región que presentaba en ese momento el coeficiente de electrificación más bajo en el país. Me pide Moni que les cuente un poco rápidamente la situación de Perú. Perú, si bien está avanzando en temas de acceso a la energía, está alineado con los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, todavía queda mucho por hacer y hay que comenzar a hacerlo ya. Creo que eso es algo de lo que podemos concluir después de haber participado en este evento. Ya desde el año 2009 en Cajamarca venimos interviniendo para facilitar el acceso a la energía a estas poblaciones rurales aisladas que viven en más del 99% de ellas en una pobreza extrema. Desde el año pasado hemos iniciado un proyecto piloto para poder atender también la Amazonía, y es ahí donde coincidimos con Alfonso, y que esperemos este año podamos estar escalando. Tenemos mucho interés en la escalabilidad de este proyecto en la Amazonía. Lo que nosotros, o nuestro principal propósito, es facilitar el acceso a la energía a estas comunidades que no tienen posibilidades de ser atendidas con otros medios convencionales. Nosotros, nuestra intervención es con sistemas fotovoltaicos domiciliarios, y lo que apostamos a hacer es al servicio. Nuestro modelo de gestión, que nos ha llevado a ser considerados por muchos organismos importantes en estos temas, justamente por el modelo de gestión que empleamos, siempre en busca de la sostenibilidad, no solamente económica, sino de la sostenibilidad social y obviamente medioambiental. El modelo que estamos utilizando tanto en la sierra, en la región Cajamarca, como en la selva, en la región Loreto, es un modelo de cesión de uso. Quiere decir que la propiedad del sistema es de la empresa, lo ceden uso a las personas a cambio de se firma un convenio por el pago de una cuota mensual. Lo interesante y en lo que ha avanzado mucho el Perú justamente en temas de electrificación rural con fotovoltaicos exclusivamente es en la fijación de una normativa, la cual incluye una tarifa eléctrica para este tipo de sistemas. Es una tarifa además que está subvencionada, es un subsidio social al cual los usuarios de Acciona Microenergía Perú tienen acceso. Este subsidio no depende del tesoro público, no depende del presupuesto del Estado, sino de todos los peruanos. Quien consume determinada cantidad de energía al mes subvenciona a los que consumen menos de 30 kilovatios hora, que en este caso son las zonas rurales. Apostamos por una tecnología...
Lo siento,
Un segundo. Bueno, resultó bastante corto, desafortunadamente, pero de todas maneras yo voy a estar un rato más por acá si alguien quiere alguna información adicional. Y no, sí, tengo muchas ganas de contar porque además creo que es interesante. Y bueno, de todas maneras también quien guste puede visitar la página web www.accioname.org. Puede ser publicidad, pero gracias, Mon.
Muchas gracias. Jessica, y lo siento. Un minuto.
Bien.
O 30 segundos.
Voy a hacer uso de este minuto. Como soy el último en hablar, voy a obligarles a pensar. Yo he de decir que lo que me sedujo de este foro fue el eslogan: más lejos, más rápido, juntos. Y esto creo que es lo que marca. Si no podemos ir juntos, no iremos más lejos, por muy rápido que vayamos, o vayan algunos. Y de hecho es esto. Lo hemos visto. Hay poblaciones y hay gente, por ejemplo, que en Haití nacerán, vivirán, se morirán sin haber visto jamás una luz. Y la reflexión a la que les quiero incitar es la siguiente. Las cadenas cuando se rompen siempre por el eslabón más débil. Y el eslabón más débil, como lo estamos viendo aquí, justamente es la que crea la pobreza y sobre todo la pobreza energética. Y yo creo que es a esto que deberíamos quizás juntar los esfuerzos, que es conseguir que esta energía tan abundante en la naturaleza sea quizás más justa, más equitativa, para evitar estos fenómenos que tenemos. En menos de un minuto lo he dicho todo. Y les quiero aconsejar una lectura de mis años mozos, bueno, no tanto, que es un pequeño libro que es en español Lo pequeño es hermoso, de Schumacher. Smart is beautiful. Les aconsejaría leer ese libro para poder comprender que efectivamente hemos de ir juntos para llegar más lejos. Gracias.
Thank you so much, Marc-Antoine. I think that's a great note to end on. Small is beautiful. We're smart villages, and we're here with everyone. I just want to say thank you, Gregory. Thank you, Martin, Alfonso, Srimampudi, Mark, and Jessica. Beautiful panel, and we will continue the discussion afterwards. We've got to get off the stage. Thank you.